Hello, world. Welcome to the Naked Parent Podcast. My name's Chad Ratliff, and I'm your host. And I'd like to introduce you to Gary Wild. He's a single father, 3 children, as a 22-year-old named Gary Jr., who's dealing with cancer. We'll hear more about the specifics on that. Moses is 20, dealing with severe autism and a heart condition that we'll hear more about in detail. And Melanie, who's 13, dealing with PTSD and a similar heart issue as Moses. But Gary, left. He says that people who stand up for disabled children inspire him. Welcome to the show, Gary. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And with your kids as well. So let's start off with Moses. When did you know that something was maybe different than the way it was supposed to go?
Moses was slow in learning. We were living in Baja, California, 2007 or 2009. My son is a baseball player. I was a coach on the state Baja team. We were in Puebla, Mexico at the Nationals. Baja was competing against the other states to see who goes.
Dang.
We had walkie-talkies. My wife and I got these Sprint walkie-talkies, and I got a phone call in the room that as we had rushed it down to get to the game on time, that my youngest son was purple and could hardly breathe, and he had fell. So
oh my gosh.
we rushed down there, and there he was, and purple and could hardly breathe. So my first big decision is, do I spend $2,000 on an ambulance? Because I've been there in Mexico. They get you. Or do I do a taxi? We took the taxi. He was harder breathing the whole time. He was in and out of consciousness, and he made it to the hospital. And then we got brain scans and several tests, which cost us like $1,000. And they gave us the okay to fly back to the United States. But
Wow.
the 2 days after that is when his autism showed up, the violence. See, he was always slow learner, which was okay with us, but we were in a Mexican restaurant in the south of Mexico, and he started hitting me and telling me, "Dad, don't hit me, don't hit me." And I thought the people in the restaurant were going to kill the white guy whose kid was saying, "Don't hit me, don't hit me." And we had to wrestle, and that was when the violence first showed up.
What age is that?
He was 7.
Any signs of autism before or not?
Oh yeah, he was a slow learner and slower than the rest of the kids. He was a preemie. He was born early. But in Mexico, it's not like here where the people come in from the state and they say, "Got to do this, got to do that." He was in regular school, and we were doing our best, and he was moving along.
Okay. And then, so that sounds like a traumatic experience, the situation with the breathing and rushing to the hospital. And what did they come out with a diagnosis from that, or?
They kept thinking that it was a epilepsy fit.
Okay.
But when they looked at his heart, they said he's got severe heart problems. But then for years, for the first year and a half, they were wondering if this was epilepsy or it was the heart. And in the end, it was the heart.
Okay. And is there something that you wish you knew then that you know now?
Yes. A doctor had mentioned when he was checking his heart once. in Mexico and had like a very small little doctor in Mexico. So I think if every kid has to have that first check, right? You got to know if your kid's heart's good. And if anybody doubts, you should go to a cardiologist.
Yeah, that's good advice. Um, you might have just said it, but what's one of the worst moments on the journey?
Well, so
Did you hear that last one?
they on this journey, the worst moments.
Yeah, or one of them.
Well, when I went to the regional center, are you aware what that is? That's
Yes.
people who end up with autism, cerebral palsy, blind, and another one. The intake director, the big boss, told me that he had never seen a kid more violent than my kid, and he'd been there 30 years. And I asked him, well, why do you choose him? And he had said that every time I come in the elevator, I have to restrain him and drop him. And that was my life for a good 3 or 4 years, where he would, like, we'll be in the waiting room in the hospital and he'll grab the little chair and he'd throw it into the crowd. Or usually I would have to restrain him and drop him. Like this director said, he'd been there 30 years. He'd never seen a child more violent in San Diego. So he would wake me up at night, punching my face. He destroyed the whole house. And I studied this. I've seen a kid that'll put one hole in a wall, but he learned where 2x4s are, and he destroyed the whole house.
Wow.
Every TV, every cell phone at school. He was breaking windows. They couldn't control.
Is this like 7 to 10? Is age wise? So is this like 7 to 10 age wise?
And somewhere around 9, going into junior high, they kind of got a handle on it, but they did give me two parents that gave me good advice because they had never seen anything like this. And one parent told me, if you have an autistic child, you need to just trust a neurologist. And that saved my life because the neurologists see them more often than psychologists, and those drugs are for a person with a neurological disorder. This parent's child, they gave a cow prod to him, and as he went to class, the teachers would hand it off, and they would electrocute that child if he acted up. And what
Oh
he
my
told
God.
me,
Oh my gosh.
so his kid got better. He learned remorse, and then he now got Employee of the Week at Goodwill. So
Wow.
there, that boy, and the other advice. A neurologist is so strong. If you got someone with a neurology disorder, you should be with a neurologist. That's such logic, but so many people miss that because the hospitals say, get a psychologist.
So did medication help calm your son down?
It helped quite a lot. I just ended up with a genius. I ended up with someone. He wasn't sleeping at night. He was violent at night. He would run, and I guess my worst moment was at Walmart, where he was in the back and he ran, and then he fainted in the front. And the hospital came, and you feel so guilty as a parent that you couldn't hold that hand for a moment, you know. And he's been in over 20 ambulances all through the state of California and in Mexico. So he's
Heavy duty.
quite a survivor. He walked through a stained glass window. It exploded on him. He used to throw rocks at cars. I've had the police come. I've had people video with me fighting with him, saying, "Get out that boy, or I'll kill you." I've had warrants for my arrest because I've had so many tickets that we run from the police. We've lived in homeless shelters, 3 different shelters, because the government only gave us $700 a month, and I had 3 kids, so it's been a long, hard road.
But you're all together, it looks like.
Yeah, everybody's successful. Every single time we get into ICO, it works out.
Way to stand strong, Gary. It's inspiring. Are there any aha moments along the way?
Well, the state would like to save money. A
What was
private
that?
hospital would like to double bill the state.
Can you say that one more time?
If the state is kind of pushing you because you're poor, they want to spend. So if you feel like the state agency is kind of, they're kind of being a little rude with you, they might be trying to cut corners on services and making you feel less. You can't get a lawyer. And I find that when a state agency kind of pushes you back too hard, then you need to change where you're going, because they're just trying to save a little money, and they use that as a way to intimidate the poor, and spend less. And if a guy walks in with a suit and he's got a lawyer, they can't push him because he would sue them, and they need to give him the services because he's. But when you're more poor, my aha moment is when a state employee starts being rude to me. I need to either change the city or go to higher up, find someone who's got a heart, and say, "Listen, he really needs this. There's no reason to push so hard and make me feel bad."
Yeah, we have to advocate for our kids, huh? That's what I'm hearing. We have to advocate. If we
That's
don't,
supposed to be the best, and that's what he says the best, because I fight very, very hard.
yeah. Um, uh, what are you most excited about moving forward right now?
Well, actually, it's kind of mixed. I, Melanie's going to have our listed with our transplant in 2 months. So although it's going to be a tough journey, we're trying to focus on that she'll walk and run again. So you got to focus on the good. And that's going to be the good, because right now it's very hard for her to walk. And she's had a lot of times in her life where either she's got an ailment where she's spitting up and people look at her class like she's a weirdo, or she can't run with the kids at church, playtime. She's going to be able to run again. So that's what I'm looking forward to.
That is exciting. I'll keep that intention with you. That is exciting. I'm very brave. You're very brave, Melanie.
She's brave. I'm not brave. She is.
She is very brave. That's amazing. That's amazing. Are you doing anything to take care of you? Like, how do you? I mean, this is a lot. This is heavy duty stuff. How do you keep it all together?
Well, she's a big help. She likes to cook. We're studying language, Japanese, read. I read so many pages. She has to read so many pages. With COVID, we've been hiding out. We still got a couple weeks left till they've been vaccinated. We have someone else in the house. Her and I have to have a mask on right now. play games. I had a psychologist tell me, find the 5 things that she likes the best. I'm sorry. Find the 5 things she likes the best and do them. So that's a really good goal. If you've got a kid that's really hurting in the house, it's hard to. You always have to look for what they want to do, not for what you want to do.
But do you feel? Do you need to? I mean, do you have to? Do you ever take time out for yourself, or?
With the COVID, the regional center was the only babysitter that I had. So, and they only gave me like 14 hours a month, and that's good for nothing. So, it's been quite a long 5 years. My son went off, and now he's a fisherman. So he used to help me babysit. I used to be able to shop alone and stuff like that.
I hear you. So I'm going to do like a lightning round, 4 or 5 questions. You can give a 1-word to 1-sentence answer. Are you up for it?
Yeah.
All right. What's the best advice you've received?
What'd you say?
What is the best advice you've received?
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Go ahead.
All right, I got one, but what's question 2?
Share a personal habit that contributes to your success.
Is there a personal charity?
Share a personal habit that contributes to your success. Something you do that makes life better.
I don't listen to naysayers. I just keep going. I had 6 private care doctors that all told me one thing, and I had one hospital 6 years ago that told her that she needs a heart transplant, and I said no, and I had to fight it for a year. I believe, and I don't believe in second opinions. I believe in third. I believe in studying what they have, making a goal, and I don't care who says what at what point. My habit is that I believe in what I'm going to believe in, and I get it done. And I don't care what it takes. I don't care. You have to believe that you're going to make it through this. And I think that's how people live when they have something they say you may die. You have to believe you can make it.
Good for you. That's inspiring. Do you have a top resource or recommendation to share with other parents?
Well, I use I use 2 sites that are very popular. I use the restrictive cardiomyopathy site, which she has, which usually goes to heart transplant within 5 years of diagnosis. So, and then there's cardiomyopathy websites with parents on there, and then there's a couple really good autism websites, and then some people experience violence like we did. So it's good to find a friend on those sites and to know you're not alone. And people make little comments. What's even better than is to inbox people. In the beginning, I inboxed crying. In the end, now I'm inboxing people that are crying. We're gonna make it. So I
Good.
say that whatever the sickness is, you go to that Facebook page and you join 5 of them, and you ask every question about every hospital and every doctor. And first, you figure out if you were in the right place, and then you got to figure out what you got. And because the mommies don't lie, the moms are straight up about their experiences. The doctors are great, but if you get on these websites and you start inboxing mommies, you're going to get the truth. And a lot of these mommies, especially with restrictive cardiomyopathy, have lost children. So you really, that's where you're going to learn the truth.
Great. What's next on your list that you want to add for your individual well-being?
Get my motorcycle fixed.
Nice. What's one thing you think would improve your life if you did it or had it?
Be like I said before the show, honey is better than wine. I get so mad at people that hurt children. I get so mad at doctors or groups or entities that want to save money, and I lay into them all. I write letters. I fight so hard every day. I spoke to like 9 people today, and what I need to do to benefit this whole thing is give more honey than wine. You can tell someone to go to hell nicely, and then enjoy it when they go to hell. So I gotta lighten up, man. I gotta just be very calm and nice with these people.
I like it. I identify with that personally. And then, I want to thank you for the time you took today. We're going to wrap it up with one final question. And that question is, do you have any guidance to share with Naked Parent Nation?
Do I have any what?
Any advice or guidance to share with Naked Parent Nation?
It's just a business, man. These guys are, I don't know, man. I say you look that person in the eye, and if you feel if any service um, is not looking straight at the benefit of your child, if that service says, well, the state can't and the school can't and we don't, and from these websites that others do, they're trying to save money. They're trying to fool you. When Moises first got restricted isotopic cardiomyopathy, I had a group hold on to me for 6 months. We're going to get you help with the violence. And he would beat my face up every day, but they were lying. They wanted $2,000 from these people. As soon as you see a rat, you got to pick up and change cities, change hospitals. Don't be afraid. I went through 6 private care doctors before I got my first one. When you see that they're saying, I can't because I don't want, they are on a different role. When you see an angel that looks directly at your child's eyes and they don't say, well, Dad, you got a problem. When someone focuses on the child's benefits alone, it's clear, and that's a keeper. And they don't, you got to get out, cut, bait, and go.
So what I'm hearing is keep moving forward, get a second or third opinion, whatever it takes.
Yeah. Move state, move country. As long as you get a house in that district, they have to take you through the emergency. I've done it enough. You just go, you sit there. Everybody doesn't know you got to be with this idiot. Well, this idiot's got a bad record. Just go. Don't put up with people who are not focusing on your child. They're blaming the whole world and the city. It's not true.
Well, Gary, I, Well, Gary, you've shared a lot of inspiring stories. You shared your journey, and my biggest takeaway that I got today was whatever it takes. And it seems like you're living the whatever it takes way of life, and I commend you and for that. And it's inspiring for me and the others in Naked Parent Nation. We want to wish you all the best in the heart transplant in a couple months for Melanie. And maybe we can connect down the road for an update interview if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine with me. It's going to be an exciting journey. Join up anytime. We'll be living up by Los Angeles, and heart transplants. They're like they said. They're serious up there, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right, man. Thanks again, Gary. I wish you all the best.
Hey, thanks for the opportunity. Call back.
All right. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.